Now, I love being single, but here's what I don't love: a kiss that tastes like an ashtray. Blech. I'm Jenny McCarthy, and I finally found a smarter alternative to cigarettes: Blue e-cigs.
She's into e-cigs, not vaccines. E-cigs. That's Jenny McCarthy advertising for Blue e-cigarettes. This morning, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced plans to implement regulations on e-cigarettes, as well as, by the way, cigars, pipe tobacco, hookahs, and nicotine gels. Now, what these new rules will do is ban sales to minors, prohibit vending machine sales, and require manufacturers to report the ingredients to the FDA, and, oh, by the way, add warning labels to the packaging as well. What the regulations will not do, however, is prohibit the use of, I guess, what people call kid-friendly flavors like chocolate or bubblegum in their products, or banning the companies from advertising them, as many had expected, and as has been done with cigarettes and other tobacco products. Some seem to think these regulations are fairly reasonable, but could this be the beginning of e-cigarettes being regulated like regular tobacco products? So joining me now to answer this question and more in tonight's Q&A is Thomas Kiklas, co-founder of Tobacco Vapor Electronic Association. Tom, thanks for joining me tonight.
Oh, thanks for having us today. Appreciate it.
So Tom, do you think this is the first step on essentially treating e-cigarettes the same way we do regular cigarettes, regulating them in the same manner?
Well, listening to your opening, we are actually the principals of the TVCA. We're the ones that brought the litigation with the FDA in 2009 and subsequently in 2010 to have the product regulated as a tobacco product. So it was our litigation that created the path for the FDA to regulate as a tobacco product prior to the litigation that we brought.
Why did you guys want this regulated like regular tobacco products?
Well, you had a choice. The FDA said this is a drug-device combination because you're delivering nicotine via a vapor. So nicotine, in their eyes, was a drug. This is a drug device. So they were going to regulate as a drug-device combination. We said no. Our nicotine is derived from leaf and stem tobacco, so we are a tobacco product. So the litigation went forward. We won the first round. It was appealed, and in December 2010, the court determined that, yes, we were indeed a tobacco product.
You know, that's kind of interesting, Tom. You guys made a decision. I don't know that you had a winning decision to make there. By choosing to be regulated as a regular tobacco product, what you're dealing with is popular conceptions that e-cigarettes, for example, have the same health effects as a normal cigarette does. So there's concerns over secondhand smoke, most of which are unfounded. There's even concern over the health effects of the person doing the vaping, whereas we know most of the negative health effects on a cigarette is because of the delivery mechanism, because of the smoke in the tobacco, not the nicotine. It seems like you guys chose a path, I'm not saying there was a right path, but that led you towards these debates, led you toward these misconceptions.
Understand. There wasn't a third path. There wasn't a path of what happened in the EU, for example. We lobbied for a year. The EU, it was a medicinal product. The regulation for the EU was this is a medicinal product and this will be on the market. Anything above 0.02 needs a prescription. They didn't say, oh, here's a third path. So we lobbied with the EU and stated that nicotine, not being a drug, it's not therapeutic, doesn't treat or harm. It's not a drug. This should not be a drug-device combination. Regulate as you do a tobacco product. Those regulations are in place. So
Right.
you gave regulators a path to keep the product on the market. It doesn't do a whole lot of good if the product is not on the market and available. So again, but these are not mutually exclusive.
Let me ask you this, Tom. Let me ask you about kids for a second, because many are pointing out, I think there's some new research out that suggests kids are using e-cigarettes to a greater degree than people of older demographics. And of course, that seems to be at least something FDA is saying they are concerned about. They have not, as we said, regulated the flavors yet, but these statistics about kids adopting e-cigarettes certainly suggest the regulations could head that way.
Well, again, they started in 2009, the FDA did, by saying that they found nitrosamines, carcinogens, antifreeze in the product, and the studies, and there's been 35 studies subsequent, showing that there aren't levels of any toxins in the product that are harmful to humans. So now we're left with, well, they must be bad because now kids are using the product. I wish the debate would forward itself to the social utility and the value that we're bringing to the smoker themselves. The market since 2010 has doubled annually. The fact that kids have access to an adult product, the regulations today were implicit that there not be sales to minors at all. And there have been, since 2010, retail locations do not sell to minors either. I've seen many news reports where they send kids in to try to buy electronic cigarettes and they're not sold because the tobacco product cannot be sold to minors. So I wish that the debate would move forward away from the distraction of kids using the product. Again, it's not
The
legal for
debate
minors
you'll be
to
having
use.
in the future is whether or not this product is leading kids to normal, traditional cigarettes or weaning those who use those off of it. That's the debate I imagine you'll be having in the future. We can't have it tonight, though, Tom. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Both President Obama and Vladimir Putin promised consequences for the escalating violence in eastern Ukraine. Up next, we ask, whose words carry more weight?